Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna get into NXT Great American Bash because it is finally completed. Hello, Kayla. How are you? It was a pretty solid show for an NXT show. Smaller setup than what I'm used to, but overall, it was pretty decent for an NXT show. So let's start off with the first match that I saw, which was Jasper versus Javon Evans. I really liked this match. I thought this match was really fun. It was a lot of hard hitting in here from Jasper, but Javon was able to combat that obviously with his high flying and aerial, you know, talent and skill. Overall, they performed exceptionally well, but it was Javon Evans who was able to will out and win at the end. This was probably one of my most shocking ones because I just knew Jasper was gonna bulldoze his way through Javon Evans, especially since his ribs had been weakened prior to this match. But fortunately for Javon, young OG, young nephew, was able to come through and beat Jasper. I don't know how well that's gonna play out in the end for Javon Evans, but he is on the up and up as of right now. Moving on, they decided to come into the next match with Izzi Dame and so Ruca. Izzi befriending Tatum is giving her quite the leg up going into NXT Great American Bash. Now, this match between Izzi and Soul was really good. There wasn't a lot of fluff or filler, but towards the end is where things kind of took the turn in Soul Ruka's favor. So as Izzi was constantly utilizing Tatum as a distraction, this time Tatum interfered herself in this match. Izzi looked like she was down and out from Soul Ruka, but Tatum put Izzi's foot on the ropes. This caused Zarya to come in and spear Tatum fiercely. She ate that spear pretty bad. And of course, this led to a distraction with that, which I thought was going to give Izzi Dame the edge, but it didn't. It gave the edge to Soul Ruka. She hit Izzi with her Soul Snatcher, and that was that. It was murder, she wrote. Soul Ruka is retaining her NXT North American Championship and heading into Evolution to possibly gain a third title, seeing as how she is the WWE Speed Champion as well as the WWE NXT Women's North American Champion. That third championship we're alluding to is her possibly becoming a tag team champion with her partner Soul Ruka. Now, this was a falls count anywhere match, and this probably was the most fun on the entire card. Ethan Page and Ricky Saints have quite the chemistry with each other, and every time they battle, they beat the hell out of each other. Unfortunately for Ricky, this time he really can't say much because he gave the stipulation to be a straight up ground and pound, falls count anywhere match, which means anything goes. And that allows Ethan Page to open up his arsenal of being probably one of the most detrimental and devastating superstars in NXT. He's quite dangerous when you give him a weapon. And that was proven to be true in this entire match. Now, Ricky was no slouch. He did perform up to the highest of caliber. But I think a key point to make in this match was there was quite the interference from Jasper for no reason. It was an accident that Ricky Saints bumped into Jasper. He didn't hit him or try to take him out. And because of that, Jasper slammed him on the roadie cart, which gave Ethan Page the edge heading out into the arena and being able to do the Razor's Edge. Well, he calls it something else, but it's Razor's Edge onto these tables that was set up. There was no way Ricky was going to be able to come back from that, and Ethan Page retained his North American Championship. The next thing we saw was the contract signing. I'm going to keep it short and brief with this. The men sat there and talked a lot. Mike Page went down the line. Joe Hendry went down the line. And then, of course, Trick Williams had his say. But Trick Williams was like, when y'all work that out, y'all come find me. He tries to leave, and Joe Hendry grabs him and tells him that we might not agree on everything, but one thing we know for sure is that you shouldn't be walking around with the TNA Championship, and we're going to find a way to get it back. If one of us is going to get it. And then, of course, Mike Santana was like, and then two, you talk too much. Both men put Trick Williams through a table, and that was that. Now, after this was over, Trick Williams went to Ava to complain. Like, hey, you got these two guys from TNA coming in here, taking out one of your guys. Like, I got jumped. Like, what are we going to do about it? Conveniently forgetting that he not only is an NXT wrestler, but he is a TNA champion, which means that he is viable for attacks no matter who is doing it or what company is from. They have every right to come after you, just like you take every shot you can to come after them. But Ava made it very clear that while, yeah, you got taken out, it's for your own good. The reality is Dark State came into the ring after everything was over and took out Mike Santana and Joe Hendry. And this is the second time that Dark State has attacked these two guys or somebody that Trick Williams was dealing with, but didn't attack Trick Williams, at least not in the moment. He claims that he's been attacked by Dark State too, but I would beg to differ. Attack and the way they've been attacking is very different. Trick Williams hasn't gotten that same attack that everybody else has gotten. He hasn't been specifically targeted, even though he has the championship. They seem to be skirting around him for some reason. And everybody believes it's because he really is a part of Dark State, but he just doesn't want to admit it, which would be strange to me. Because for the last few months, he's been utilizing not only High Rise, but he's been utilizing First Class. Why not utilize the guys you claim you're not a part of, rather than to go and get two different factions when you could just use them? I don't understand the logic of it. I don't think I ever will, but it is what it is. Now, as he was talking to Ava made it very clear that since y'all not cool, then you don't have no problem with teaming with Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, to face off against three members of Dark State in a 6-man tag team match, which he was just like, oh, hell no. He wasn't happy, obviously. But also, next week, Trick Williams not only has to wrestle in NXT, but he's got to work Saturday, I believe, or Sunday for Slammiversary. Slammiversary is on the 20th of July. That's on a Sunday next week. So he's going to be pulling double duty as well as his counterparts in Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. With all that's being said, loves, let's get to the men's championship. Inamura wanted to do this with honor. He didn't want to be disrespectful to Femi, and he wanted to honor that championship and honor the man who's holding the championship. So he respected Femi and kept it clean. But it was his homeboy, Josh Briggs, that was stirring the pot and throwing salt in the wound. He's the one who was causing more mischief and drama than needed to be caused. He did it last Tuesday when he got involved and ended up trying to shake things up between Inamura and Femi. So much so that Obafemi ended up getting laid out by Inamura due to his attack on Josh Briggs from Josh Briggs provoking Obafemi. Now we fast forward to NXT Great American Bash, and Josh Briggs is still provoking. He not only tried to steal this championship from Obafemi, but he almost cost himself his friendship with Inamura. He got involved multiple times in this match. One of them, after the ref got knocked out, hitting Obafemi over the head with the belt. He hit it for a while, but as Inamura was getting ready to hit his signature move, Inamura noticed that he had the title in his hand, and he made it very clear that this is not how he wanted to win. Due to all this kerfuffle and distraction, Inamura ended up suffering a loss to Obafemi. Now, in the back, Obafemi was talking to the backstage commentator, and essentially what he says is that Inamura upheld his end of the deal, that he did this match with honor. It was his homeboy Josh Briggs that cost him this opportunity, and I feel bad for him for that. Now, Inamura came up to Obafemi and made it very clear that he apologizes on behalf of his friend Josh Briggs and that he does respect that he won this match fair and square. Now, Obafemi, out of respect to Inamura and his ability to be honorable, he decided that he would grant him another title shot, sans Josh Briggs, to really see if he could actually beat the ruler. Josh Briggs came in on full force, telling him that Inamura is honorable, but I know for a fact that you aren't honorable, and neither am I. And the two men argued and fought. Inamura tried to keep Briggs back, but of course, the situation blew up into something very, very nasty. So I suspect that this story is going to continue to boil over, and we're going to have problems. Now, y'all hear my house phone? Ciao. So rude. Hold tight. It's so rude, y'all. It's so rude. Hi, Donnie. He said both times he was champ, right? We talking about Obafemi or like Ethan Page? Because I'm confused. Pardon my confusion. While Donnie give me my answer, I'm gonna go and move into the stuff that we saw backstage, or at least the kind of stuff that they was talking about backstage. So we saw Stacks. Stacks was back there talking a lot of shit, being very weird. Talking about he got a list of people he want to go up against, legends and greats alike, as well as people a part of NXT. And then he okay. And then he continued to to talk about how he was amazing and how he's the greatest champion and how he's just too smart for Tony, and he thought that he could get Luca on the side, but Luca don't want nothing, so he ain't got to worry about it. He like, it is what it is when it comes to this. The family is dead. I single-handedly destroyed the family, and that's all that matters. Now he went up to A-Train talking a lot of shit to A-Train, and A-Train was like, yo, Stacks, you should really keep your head on the swivel. Obviously he didn't do that because his title ended up going up belly up. Nobody knows where it was. They were like, oh my gosh, where's the championship? Where is it? And of course, nobody knew exactly where it was, but later on we would find out where that title was. Now, Luca also gave his 2 cents. Luca made it very clear that while he, was a part of the family at one point, it's no longer about the family, that it's about me. It's about Luca. I laid out Tony because all he cared about was the demise of his family. He didn't really care about me as a person or what I contributed to this family or how I kept this family afloat. And as far as Stacks is concerned, he's on some weird ass power trip, and he's like, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. That's none of my business. All I know is that I am now going to be doing things my way, and it's no longer going to be under the guise of Tony or Stacks. And so he left it at that. Now, Tony D'Angelo made it very clear that Luca, Stacks, y'all don't know nothing about loyalty. Y'all don't know how to respect, and y'all don't know nothing about respect. But it's cool, though, Luca, I'll deal with you at a separate time. But you, Stacks, you need to understand that everything in life has a reaction. And it's time for you to get yours. You weren't paying attention when you had your championship just sitting out there, sitting there waiting, trophy just sitting there, nobody saying nothing, nobody saw it, and boom, you left it unattended. So your big homie, like I always do, had to go and catch it for you. Not only did Tony take the damn championship, but he threw it in the lake. Now, I don't know what this means, but I am hoping that it means that this is now going to become a belt and it's not going to just be, a trophy that they're carrying around. I'm okay with them having a trophy for the NXT Heritage Cup. I'm so fine with that. But I really like the idea of them making that trophy into a wearable belt that can be worn. Now, one thing he was doing that was really fucked up was that he called Lexus King Fat Lexus King. It was just body shaming the fuck out of Lexus King. I was like, ooh. I mean, I can't be mad at it. Because, I've said worse, so I really can't be mad at it. It is what it is. But I know he's somewhere hurt. Because I'd be tearing Stacks' ass up. Like, you cannot call me fat when, bitch, it look like you're snorting all of Italy at this point, okay? Let's not go there, okay? Now, the final match of the night went to the ladies. Jacy Jayne and Fallon took on Jordynne Grace and Blake Monroe. And it was actually a really good matchup between these four. Jasmine was on the outside, and I don't know why I was under the assumption that Jasmine was the one competing in this match. But whatever the case may be, it was Jordynne and Jacy versus and Fallon and Blake. They were going against each other. Now, the match took a turn, obviously, when Masha came out there to stop Jasmine from interfering. Masha came out there, took out Jasmine. Her and Jasmine was fighting all the way to the back. And this is when everything changed, okay? Jordynne and Blake were able to take over, and it was Blake who got the pin on Jacy Jayne. Let me reiterate. It was Blake who got the pin on Jacy Jayne. Now, earlier in the day, she was talking all types of cash shit. Excommunicated her girls from this interview and basically was like, they just need to do what they got to do to make sure I stay champion because Fatal Influence will stay on top as long as I'm champion. And I was like, oh, okay, so you basically just excommunicating your homegirls. If I was them, I would walk out of her match tomorrow and leave her by herself because, she seems to think that she can do it all on her own. So let's see you do it all on your own, sis. You couldn't even get it done with help. Lainey Reed was right. You are the most beatable champion, and you keep trying to make it seem like you was untouchable. But the only reason why you beat Stephanie was because you had help from Fallon and, of course, Jasmine. And the only reason why you beat Lainey was because you had help from Fallon and Jasmine. So if you're going to talk your shit, at least pop off correctly and not blow smoke up people's asses. Let's keep it real. Anywho, these ladies and gentlemen, that was NXT Great American Bash. Jacy Jayne was left with egg on her face and suffered the loss. She's the one who ate the pin. It wasn't Fallon. It was Jacy who ate the pin. So shit's about to get real. Because in a few hours, we're going to be watching Saturday Night Main Event. Like literally in a few hours. 2 hours, we'll be back into wrestling watching Saturday Night Main Event. Every match on this card is a male card, okay? Because obviously tomorrow we're gonna have an all women's card, okay? We don't need anything else. All right. Now I'm gonna tell y'all let me hold tight. Well, there it is. We're going to give you guys the results for All In, the parts of All In that have already been completed. Everything else you guys will have to find out on your own. But I'm going to give you guys the match card for Saturday night main event, and then we'll give you some of the road results for All In Texas. Okay. So LA Knight is going to be taking it on Seth freaking Rollins for, obviously, because these two have a lot of bad blood between the two of them, and they need to work this out and go their separate ways. Well, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm very interested in this. Now, Solo is facing off against his big brother, Big Jim. Solo and Jim just got a win over Solo this past Friday. He's going into this match with a lot of the momentum, but I don't know if he's going to pick up the W. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but I'm hoping Jacob shows up and costs him the title anyway, because that would just make my day, honestly. And then we have Randy Orton going up against Drew McIntyre. Now, in this match, there's going to be a lot of fluff because you're going to have Jelly Roll in Randy's corner, and I'm pretty sure that Logan Paul is going to come down there and be a part of this as well, which is unnecessary for me, but sure, go off. And then the final match of the night is going to be Goldberg's final match versus Gunther. Okay, this is all happening. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and it's going to be available on NBC and on Peacock, so you can choose which side you want to watch it on. But those are the shows that are going to be happening for WWE for the remainder of the night. We got 2 hours until Saturday night main event. So whatever you need to do before you miss out, make sure you go and check it out. All right. Now, let's talk about All In Texas, because All In Texas has started at 3 p.m. and they have had some winners in these matches already. In the trios match, the Ops defeated the Death Riders and Gabe Kidd. MJF won the Casino Gauntlet, which allows him to have a future AEW World title shot. The vacant TNT Championship. I'm going to explain why that title is vacant. Adam Cole has an injury that has been plaguing him. He came out during All In and addressed the crowd. He apologized for not being able to be healthy and be there, and it looked like he was about to start crying, which it really broke my heart that he can't compete. And Adam has been plagued with so many injuries. It really sucks that he couldn't defend his championship and he had to vacate it. And unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to compete for a while. So Adam's going to be gone again. And now they had to do a championship match to make sure this title goes to someone. Fatal four-way is what they decided to do. Dustin Rhodes, Kyle Fletcher, Daniel Garcia, and Sammy Guevara were the 4 men chosen to be a part of the Fatal four-way. But it was Dustin Rhodes who won in this match. This, I don't understand. Kyle Fletcher had the crowd. He has the momentum, and he has the look and the youth to drive this title where it needs to go. I think that this was a bad choice, in my opinion. Kyle Fletcher should be your new TNT champion right now. Moving on to the final match that has already been done. Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay went up against the Young Bucks, and they defeated them. The Young Bucks are no longer having the EVP title, and Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland both can still challenge for that AEW World title whenever they decide to challenge. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is your AEW All In Texas card. And from what I hear, it's been a pretty solid show. The women's matches haven't happened yet. We're still looking at some stuff for the Hurt Syndicate's Tag Team Championship. I'm not watching it at the moment, so if that match is on, great. Casino Gauntlet for the women's championship, the AEW Women's World title, the AEW World Championship, and then we still have Omega and Okada's unification match. There are other matches that were on the card that have been completed. FTR defeated the Outrunners. Big AJ Boom and the Conglomeration defeated the Callis family, and the Sons of Texas defeated Shane Taylor Promotions. There you have it. That's your card for All In Texas for now. We still got quite a bit to go, and hopefully by the time I come back for Saturday night main event and our little chill time, I can give you guys the rest of this card, and we can put this full weekend to bed. I'll see you guys later on tonight after Saturday night main event when I go live and we just chill. We talk about the ending of the show and we talk about All In Texas. Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more wrestling content. Check out our merch and consider becoming a member for exclusive perks, special emojis, and members-only content.